Cross your fingers, everybody, because I think it's happening. Hi, this is Elena of the Holy Witch. All this like woohoo in the morning and in the afternoon, and here as I start this live stream, because those of you who were here last week know that there was just no way for me to get the camera to work. I couldn't get the video to work. We are back. It's fixed. We figured it out. So I don't know if we're out of the shadow of Mercury retrograde yet or not. And typically, I don't have a whole lot of trouble during Mercury retrograde, but this one has been a tech entanglement of monumental proportions on all levels. So may it be done, is what I'm saying. Hello, Claudia. Hello, Laurenberg. Renee, hello, hello. I'm so glad that we get to see each other because FY to the I. This is the last Tuesday live. We didn't do many this year at all, actually. We did maybe a handful, if that. But this is the last one until next spring. It's happening. I can't even believe we are right now on the precipice of the fall equinox here in the northern hemisphere. And for those of you who are down under on the southern hemisphere, you're on the precipice of your spring. Things are changing. And the seasonal change brings with it choices about, oh no. Hold on. I'm getting a little message from the YouTubes. But I think it's okay. I think it's okay. What is my health? What is my stream health? Okay, look, as long as it says excellent. Cross your fingers, bang a drum, light a candle, do what you need to do, send me the juju for this to work. In any case, we're at the doorway to a new season, and I actually just sent out a newsletter about it earlier this morning. It's time to go inward. It's time to slow it down. It's time to really cull back on the activity, because this is the season of deeper introspection for those of us who are in the northern hemisphere. So part of that for me, my self-care, my magical work, but also my professional work, is to retreat, because as I teach, I also have to take time out to learn and to replenish and to really continue to hone my own personal skills so that I can integrate that in a way that then I can translate and share with all of you. So this is the last one for a while. That's not to say that other things stop. The School of Holy Witchery, of course, continues on. Coven of Lilith is in full swing and going on. The Moon Ritual Coven is going on. There'll be some adjustments to that because I won't be doing lives. I'll be doing more pre-recorded gatherings for School of Holy Witchery and Moon Ritual Coven. But things are going to slow down significantly. So that's what's going on over here. Hello, Elle, I think, yes. Mimsy's here. Avira is here. Carol, hello. Queen Enigmatic Enchantress, I love it. Hello. Renee. So yay, we're here. We're here. Yeah, no, retrograde is over, but there was a shadow. And I think we're actually out of the shadow as well. I'm going to knock on wood because so far in the last couple of days, things have been really good in terms of the tech. So there we go. In terms of announcements, before I get into the Oracle reading, for those of you who are new here, what we do is we get together. I do an Oracle reading for the week, and then usually there's announcements here and there, and then we just do a live Q&A witchiness, right? Where you ask me questions about witchcraft, we talk about witchcraft, and we go from there. Sorry, I need to drink. Okay, announcements really quickly. My intention is before this week is over, if I can get it really together, so send me some energy to really just get myself in order, is to announce at least 3 of the live retreats that are coming next year so that all of you can start preparing. And if you want to like secure your spot, throw in a deposit, all the things, but information on that will be coming within the week. In terms of emailing and responsiveness, I'm going to be pretty slow to respond between the days of September 23rd and October 4th. So it's like about a 10-day period where things are going to be really slow and quiet on this side. I'm going to be taking a really deep retreat myself and then coming out of it and easing myself in. I will probably only be checking in with things to make sure that the world isn't burning to the ground. That's pretty much the extent of the check-in. So know that if you send in an email, please be patient. It'll take about almost 2 weeks, a week and a half to respond to. I will leave someone back here kind of checking in every once in a while, but it won't be as fast. What else do I need to announce? School of Holy Witchery. As we go into the fall, the inward motion, there are two things that could happen. It might be that you're just like, I gotta stop all the things, and then there might be parts of you and some of you who are, life slows down, it's time for me to really focus on my witchcraft and my personal practices. School of Holy Witchery, School of Holy Witchery, School of Holy Witchery. There's a lot just percolating there. If you haven't done it already, if you start now, the first few months for you will take you through the fall season and into the winter in a really beautiful way, because of the topics and the learning that happens in those first probably about 4, even 5 months. Are really supportive. There's work. Don't get it twisted. There's some work involved, but the learning is very internal and it's supported by this season. So definitely check out the website and check out School of Holy Witchery. It's an exciting place of deep witchcraft learning, unlike anything I've seen out there before. So there's that. And I think that that's it for my announcements. Laurenberg says, what's happening? Wait, hold on a second. I thought Elena was about to throw bones for the Oracle reading. I mean, we may do that one day. Why not? We may do that one day. You never, ever know. But I'm still with the Oracle cards. So I'm still on this deck. This deck is amazing. See it? Witch, Woman in Total Control of Herself. Oracle by Angie Sullins and art by Silas Tobal. Beautiful deck. This is the card that I pulled for us today. The Companion. This brought up so much for me, especially now that we are about to enter the fall season for those of us in the Northern Hemisphere. The instant hit that I got from the card was that we're never alone. We are never alone. Whether it's your guide, your deity, the entire ancestral line of witches that stand at your back, or your own personal DNA, blood, ancestral line, we are never alone. The spirits of land, the trees around us, we are never, ever alone. And I say that as a way to add encouragement to you in any way possible. For those of you who are still having a hard time, who are now having a hard time, and you might feel alone, you are not alone. And also on a more mystical, as if that's not mystical enough, in a more mystical way, there's someone, something, someone's with an S, usually around us, co-creating our mystical magic, co-creating our reality as we go, co-creating the mischief, co-creating the synchronicities, co-creating the learning and the deep healing. There is always allies with us, supporting us in our path, supporting us in the way that we move forward, even when things are difficult. The support shows up in the learning. The support shows up in the creation of deeper resiliency. We're never alone. And so when this card came up, it was like, yes, of course. And if there's ever a season to really focus on this, it's now. Although this is always, in every season, at every point in the year, you are not alone. There's always the sacred companion, the sacred ally, and always with the S in the parentheses, right? Because it's always more than one. Always. We are not, even if you have not connected with those beings in your path as of yet, that doesn't mean that they're not there. And that doesn't mean that they haven't been refining, moving, helping along the way. Because life and the universe and the entire existence of all things, seen and unseen, move forward. It might be spherical, like as in a spiral, but the movement keeps going. And the support is to life. In other words, the evolution of more, the evolution of growth, even when the cycle is life, birth, death, rebirth. I think I said that in the wrong order, but it doesn't matter. You know what I mean. And so take this with you. You are not alone. You have allies at your back that are supporting you no matter what you're doing. And even when it's difficult, even when it's devastating, even when you're on the ground and you're like, I cannot go on or take another minute of any of it, there are allies weaving the path ahead for you, with you, and your higher self who knows the path ahead is important, who knows that the path ahead is necessary, and knows that the path ahead for you is filled with deep, deep magic. Beautiful. I love that this card came up. So that is the Oracle reading for this week. Things to think about and drop into your meditations in the morning. So like that. Mimsy says, I'm in recovery mode. Moving from everything involved was just nuts. So I'm just going with the flow. Go with the flow. I'm finally getting comfortable with the understanding of this, getting more connected to knowing my guides and all of those. Yes. Avira says, beautiful card. So perfect after this weekend's Healing the Witch Wound. Yes, yes, yes. I feel nourished and inspired. Beautiful. Hi, Monica. You just got here. Hello, hello. Welcome. Welcome. So yeah, especially after Healing the Witch Wound, I think that it's makes sense that this card would come up as well. We're not alone. And we have the entirety of the ancestral line of witches with us as witches. That is no small thing. It's no small amount of magic. That's no small amount of wisdom and understanding. There's so much there to tap into. Yeah, beautiful. So like that, that's the Oracle reading. Please, if you have questions or thoughts or anything that you want to talk about here in our like freewheeling witchcraft Q&A, do it, because this is it, man. This is it until I don't have an actual date yet because I haven't looked at my calendar specifically for this date, but I'm thinking probably sometime in March is when I will come back to the lives. Sorry, I know I keep making this noise by the microphone, but now I'm just thirsty. I don't think I have really any other announcements other than the School of Holy Witchery, and then be on the lookout for the retreats for next year are really exciting. What I'm going to say for the retreats, and something to keep in mind, because I know that there are quite a few of you who want to, most of them, if not all of them, I'm pretty sure. Yeah, they're all going to be in Southern California, so that you're aware ahead of time that this is what's coming. They're all going to be in Southern California. They're probably all, with the exception of one, going to be in the same location, because we found a fairly good location. And my retreats are really about, let's get together, let's hunker in, and let's do some work. We're going to do a lot of spells, a lot of magic, a lot of weaving together, which is so exciting. So Southern California, January, March, September of next year. And it could be April, January, April. I got to look at my calendar again. And then, of course, for those of you who are in Coven of Lilith, that retreat will be in July, but that's only for those who are in Coven of Lilith. So what to know and think about. There is opportunity for a small group or a little bit of a larger group, but larger group means sharing beds. So if you've got a friend, and now I know a lot of you have already like met through our community, which I love, and a lot of you have already spent time and shared beds together. Sign up with a buddy, as in I'm signing up and I'm going to share a room with so-and-so. There's usually a little bit of a discount for a shared room. It won't be that big of a discount for this next year, simply because there's going to be a lot of goodies that we'll be buying and providing for all of you, so that you can do a really cool magic together. And that's got to be offset somewhere. It just is what it is, but be mindful of that. So start thinking about, who could I share a bedroom with? Usually it's a queen. Sometimes it's going to be a king bed. There's definitely going to be, one of the rooms has got bunk beds. So that'll be a shared room for sure, but with your own bed. So like that, consider those things. And we're always, always, always going to have amazing food. Just amazing food. We've got access to 2 brilliant chefs who just deliver gorgeous cuisine. So exciting. Okay, let's see what's happening. And I'm going to do something that's going to seem kind of weird, but I know Mimsy's saying something important, and this weird little heart is in the way, and I can't read the last of her sentence. So I'm filling space. There we go. And I love finding out we can ask our guides for help. Yes, absolutely. Always, 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 always. Always. Do it every morning. You want to do a practice that can really like completely revolutionize the way you see yourself and see the world and see your magic? Dedicate 30 straight days to waking up in the morning for 5 to 10 to 15 minutes, if not more, where you just sit, you meditate, and you open. You energetically open with the intention of, I'm here to receive specific information from you. My guides. Always, of course, cast a circle of protection. Be clear about who you're asking, but do it and see what comes through, and have a journal with you all the time. After 30 days, you're going to have a lot. You're going to have a lot of information. You can ask clarifying questions. So it's not just whatever they want to give you, but you can ask more. What does that mean? Who are you? How do we work together? Why now? What have you been for me in my entire life? Like, how do I support you? What kind of relationship can we develop? What kind of offerings do you love? How do I fuel and nourish this relationship? What do I most need to know right now? Like, these are all important questions that they can answer for you. And you can do the same thing with a new deity. You can do this very same thing with the spirits of your land, the trees around you, the spirit of a particular tree that you're really like you have an affinity towards, all the things. You can do the same thing because this is holy witchery. And we're very animistic in our practices. You can do the same thing with a crystal. You can do the same thing with a botanical that you're really drawn to, but you want to have a deeper relationship with. I mean, this is how we do. Witchcraft, again and again and again and again, and I'm going to repeat it for the rest of my life, is at its core a spirituality of connection. There's relationship that we have. We have relationship with energy. This is how we work magic. Because we tap into energy, we move with energy, we add energy, we support specific energies in order to manifest a particular thing. That's a relationship. We work with different botanicals. Over time, we start to really understand that the botanical isn't just a list of correspondences that we pick up online or that I give you. It's more than that. They have a personality. There are moods involved. There are affinities and like resistances in terms of what to pair them with, and they will tell you. It is just where else and what else would we be if not witches? It's one of the most magical ways of exploring the world and understanding the world and engaging ourselves in the world, and that there really is, honestly. And I'm not even trying to sell it. It's just the truth. So like that, yes. Anybody else have questions and things to ask? I haven't done a lot of reading this year. Really a lot at all, because I've been so focused on both Coven of Lilith and School of Holy Witchery. I do have plans to do some reading over the course of the next 2 seasons. I just haven't decided yet what. So I don't know that I'm actually open to suggestions because I don't want to be overwhelmed, but what I am open to is a list just kind of magically forming for me. That is what I'm open to. We'll see how that goes. Oh my goodness. You guys are a quiet bunch today, but I am going to be saying that I'm super grateful for the fact that somehow this is working. It is truly a relationship. It is absolutely a relationship with energy. I'm going to just move to boom. There we go. This is Claudia who says, for me, it's recently been practicing gratitude in my daily witchcraft. It seems to be prevalent coming into the season as well. Absolutely. This is like the season of a witch's Thanksgiving, which is, I love American Thanksgiving. I know that there's like political back and forth about the origins of the day, but I don't even care. And it's not that I don't care about genocide. That's not what I'm saying. So don't take that wrong. It's that any day that we pick in a year where we dedicate to being grateful, I think it's a beautiful holiday. It is, for me, my most favorite like secular holiday that there is. And that as witches, we have 3. We have Lammas around August 1st. We have this one coming up, Fall Equinox, and then we have Hallows. These are different versions of harvest festivals. And what is harvesting, if not also in deep, intimate relationship with gratitude? We are harvesting the fruits of our labor. We're harvesting the fruits of our deep labor for self-transformation and healing and the things that we just on a day-to-day, year-to-year basis want to manifest and create for our lives. It's beautiful. And it doesn't even have to be necessarily heavy. It can be as simple as, let me get together with the people that I love the most to just be in gratitude for those connections and celebrate. Beautiful. So to that end, what I think is great and would be great is if all of us would have like 3 Thanksgiving meals or gatherings a year, where we have one in August, we have one in September, and we have one in October. I think that would be amazing. We need, and I was talking about this over the course of the weekend that just passed when we were doing Healing the Witch Wound. We need to be in spaces together, in the same room together. It's one thing. This is amazing that a lot of you have become friends through all of the contacts that you've had here and in the lives that we've had. It's one of the things that I love the most about this entire journey. And we still need to be together in the same space, because yes, we can do rituals online on Zoom. Yes, we can watch the replay, blah, blah, blah. That's not to denigrate those things, because they do work. They are part of how we weave our relationships, but there is something energetic. You can feel it on your skin when we are together and we're circling and we're getting to know each other, but we're also weaving magic together in the same space. It is unlike anything else. And the magic can be sharing a meal, and the magic can be sitting in a circle weaving major spells. It can be all of that and everything in between. More and more and more. So if I can encourage you to do anything, come up with ways to have 3. Let's do 3 Thanksgiving gatherings every year, where we have one in August, we have one in September, we have one in October, and hell, if you're in the United States and you want to go that far, have one in November too, for like the traditional overculture Thanksgiving holiday. You can't do this enough. You can't. It is healing. It is recalibrating. It brings us back to the basics of what it is to be human in this world, which is to connect. Beautiful. I am campaigning for this, is what I'm doing. Mimsy says there's a lot that was happening during our need of necessity to move, and it wasn't planned or prepared. So there was a lot of fear and panic. So I get it that now, after all that, you have to do some serious resting. I mean, recovery is important, and nourishing for recovery is important. Shauna, hello, Miss Shauna, totally embracing the holy rest vibe. Absolutely. Ellen says, I needed to hear this. I love that I found this now. I'm so glad that you did too. Mimsy goes on to say, at one point I realized I could just let go and keep repeating everything was going to be okay. And I had basically created my own mantra. Beautiful. And I didn't realize it. Gorgeous. Beautiful. Melanie, hello, says, I want a book written by Elena. I want a book written by Elena too. Yes, a book. I mean, there's a book. There are 5 books actually in me waiting. I'll get to it one day. Avir says, will Holy Witchery start up again in spring? I'd like to start from the beginning instead of jumping in mid-cycle. And I'm also in another course right now that finishes us up in the spring. So there is no opening and closing for Holy Witchery. It's always open, because what happens is everyone starts. So I don't know how to give a good example of this that's clear. Let's say 5 people started at the beginning of September and they're on the track, and you decide to start in November. You're going to start at the same place they started. So you're staggered behind them, because everyone, it's like module 1 through 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, and on and on and on. Everyone will always start at the beginning. But what we do together in the lives is everyone does together. Does that make sense? And so part of the reason why I did that was to just allow for anyone to jump in as they needed, and to benefit from 2 things. When we do our lives and there are questions and answers, some people are going to be asking questions about modules that you perhaps haven't gotten to yet. And that gives you an idea of what's coming, but it also gives you some learning. And then for those who are in the beginning, and maybe others who are like maybe 4, 5, 6, 10 months ahead, a beginner mind asks questions that sometimes you don't consider to ask. And so that still gives those who are ahead an opportunity for learning as well. So I wanted that kind of, that mixed group experience, because beginner mind is so very fresh and always curious in ways that open up doors for people who are past that learning. Do you know what I mean? So you can jump in now, you can jump in the spring, you can jump in the middle of winter, you can jump in whenever you want. The School of Holy Witchery is always open. The only thing that is not always open, sorry, I'm gonna cough. Hold on. The only thing that is not always open is Coven of Lilith. That is a closed group, and that only opens up once a year for people to come in. So that's the only thing that's got a specific window for registration. And also the same with Moon Ritual Coven. Moon Ritual Coven is open all the time. You can jump on in. When you do that with both School of Holy Witchery and Moon Ritual Coven, every single recording for all of the lives that have happened way before you signed up, you have access to. So then you can go back and watch all of that as well. So you don't miss out on the things that we've done live together. Yeah, I hope that answers the question. Mimsy says, after we get our current apartment hubster out of the blue, makes a comment that this complex and apart and location, we got everything I was asking for. Oh, I think you mentioned this before. He was the one to notice, which is what makes it so hysterical. Yeah, Holy Witchery is a go at your own pace. Thank you. But within the group for support. Beautiful, beautiful. Vera says that makes sense. Thank you. You're welcome. Yeah. And yes, for a book formula. I know. That's part of why like fall and winter, I step back a lot. This is the first year that I'm going to be doing it fully, with one exception that I'm still teetering on. This is why the announcement for retreats hasn't fully gone out yet, because it makes sense to do this particular retreat in January. But that's in the middle of winter. And it's like, do I do that? Do I not? It's only 4 days, but it's like 4 really intense days, but it's also really magical. It's a beautiful way to start the year. So I'm still like sitting, meditating, kind of asking internally, like, is this the right thing to do? But for the most part, fall and winter is about the nourishment so that this other stuff can come up, which is the book and the learning and the integration. And we'll see. Eventually one day it'll happen for sure. And you will all be the first to know. Well, you won't be the first to know, but you'll be the first to know en masse. How's that? There was something else that I wanted to share. We have like a little something something offering coming up in the next, I think, month, probably by the middle of October. That's kind of great to jump in on in the fall. It's just a beautiful, very creative, very artistic offering that I'm really excited about. So be on the lookout for that. Super affordable. I think it's like $47 or $57, and you get a whole year's guided like process, which is beautiful, with a lot of downloadables. And Tree has just created beautiful art around this. I keep looking at all the things that she's created, and it's just gorgeous. So that's coming up, something to look forward to in the fall, even though I'm going to be like a little shh. And yeah, that's it. I'm not. So speaking of books, what are you reading right now, Elena? I'm not. This is what I was saying, that I haven't done a lot of reading this year at all. And I'm about to go on a retreat at the end of this week, and I'm going to be gone, pretty much like traveling, or pretty much just retreating, for about 10 days total. One is like a 6-day, and the other one's going to be like a 4 or 5 day. And so I keep thinking about like, what books do I want to take with me, because the travel time, the driving time, and all the things, and nothing comes through. Like every time I think, oh, I wanted to read that book, it's like, no, that's not the right topic for what, I'll be doing. So I'm not really reading anything right now. I'm doing a lot of writing. I'm doing a lot of video creating. I'm doing a lot of preparations for things to launch for all of you while I'm gone. A lot of pre-recorded lessons for School of Holy Witchery and Coven of Lilith and the Moon Ritual Coven. And when I'm not doing that, I'm pretty much just kind of sleeping. That's the extent of my life. A lot of resting, a lot of sleeping, a lot of just tending to the needs of my body. And I've missed it. I've really, really missed it. And so we'll see. But I don't know. I have no idea what I'll be reading, because I want to. I just don't know what. Yeah. Oh, interesting. I can't wait. Fall, November, or December. You mean for the thing that we're going to launch? I think at the end of October. So by beginning of November for sure. I'm a Gemini with a Scorpio. Boom, Gemini with a Scorpio. Sleep. It's called napping. Napping, sleep, really, really just listening. I don't know where I was talking about this. It must have been maybe Holy Witchery. I mean, not Holy Witchery. Maybe it was with Healing the Witch Wound. I don't know. Recently on a live, I was talking about healing and how that's kind of where I'm at. I've needed some healing, and rather than, I thought, oh, I'm going to do all the things at once, all the herbs, all the this, all the that, all the sleeping, my body's like, girl, one thing at a time. And right now it's really been about sleeping. Like my sleep has been the primary healing focus probably since June, May. And I sleep well, but I'm really just, my body's recalibrating to, actually, I need way more sleep than I thought that I did. And you spend so much time doing so many things and giving yourself just 5 hours a night of sleep and 4 hours a night of sleep and blah blah blah, and the insomnia and the this and the that, that it's not like you have one good night of sleep and rest and you like make up for the years and years and years of really not sleeping enough. So part of my process in healing this year has really been about, oh, I need a rest now. We're going to put it all down. I'm going to rest, which was never what I would do. I would always just power through, push through, pretend, keep, and I still try to do that. It's still kind of a habituated addiction. And gratefully, my body's at a place where it's like, you're going to try to push, but we're not going to move. My brain's like, it's 5 o'clock. We're not working anymore. I can't even think straight anymore. So it's really making me super mindful to just be in the constant presence and dialogue with my body of what do we need now? Then just do it. Just surrender to the rest. So yes to napping, yes to sleeping early, yes to waking up without an alarm as many times as I can. Sometimes I have to use an alarm. But when I don't need to, I let myself just wake up naturally as a way to let my body kind of guide everything. It takes work. It takes work, and it takes a particular type of lifestyle where you can kind of organize this. And on the days where I know I have to show up somewhere early and do something early, I go to sleep really, really early. No more caffeine, no more like anything stimulant like sugar or anything. Sleep is like kind of the big focus of my life right now. So, Melanie, the lives for School of Holy Witchery and Moon Coven are going to stop, but not. In other words, I'm preparing things for all of you to drop on those particular days, but I won't be there live. It'll be pre-recorded. So, like right now, I'm working on 3 for Moon Ritual Coven and 2 for School of Holy Witchery. So, one of them for School of Holy Witchery will be... one will be a guided shamanic journey. The other one will be a lesson on a particular spell. And then similar with Moon Ritual Coven, it'll be related to whatever the moon is for that time. And it'll, what do I have? I think I've got 3 spells and something else. So you're going to get content, you're going to get guidance, you're going to get a course or something, but it won't be live. But I'll drop it on the day that it's supposed to be happening so that we can stay on the same schedule. Laura Edson, is it Edson? Yeah, Edson says, hello, I feel lost. I'm a Gemini. I mean, I'm not sure if you're asking a particular question, but Geminis have a tendency to sometimes feel lost when they're not like fully grounded. But if you have something that you're trying to ask, maybe use different words. Let's go that way. Shadow the Djinn, love it. Is anyone welcome to join? If these are intended as spaces for women or non-binary folks only, I don't want to intrude. So for Moon Ritual Coven and a School of Holy Witchery, anybody can join, absolutely. The Coven of Lilith group right now, and it's closed in general. Like we only have registration available for Coven of Lilith. January through July of each year. That's for women only, but the other two open for everybody. I think that's the energy of the age. You mean the age in general or the age of my age? You know what I mean? And it could be both. Avira says, I need to think of sleep as healing. Yeah, I'm such a night owl and I'm my mom's full-time caretaker. So night is the real me time. I mean, I think it depends. There's studies. So you might want to do a little bit of research in terms of, does sleep need to be at night if you are a night owl? Some people are just wired differently, and it may mean that you need to sleep during the day or sleep in spurts. I haven't read enough to know what the research says about sleeping in spurts or sleeping during the day, because there is a light and darkness factor that plays with your neurology, your biology. You know what I mean? But just the act of, oh, I'm tired, and responding to that as opposed to pushing through it is huge and hard. We're so wired to keep pushing. You know, let's say you have an 8-hour a day job, 9 to 5 or whatever it is, and it's like, I'm really tired, it's 2 o'clock, but I have to keep going. We are trained, our culture keeps us being pushed. We're pushing past what instinctually our naturalness, our bodies are saying, you're kind of done. You need to stop. You need to rest. We need rest. So just the practice of paying attention to how often I do that is humbling. It's painful. Like, wow, I keep pushing against my very nature. And the implications of that in all areas of my life is huge. And I think that that's true probably for all of us. So finding a way, and it's hard for all of us to find a way to fit that into what we have to carry every day in our lives, our responsibilities, right? Is the challenge. It's a huge challenge that I'm finding for sure. And I have a fairly flexible schedule in terms of, I make my schedule, and it's still hard, you know? I read that already. Melanie, I need some serious perimenopause, menopause magic. That's the other layer. That's the other layer. That's definitely part of it. I will say, again, see a doctor, see a naturopath, see someone. Don't take my advice because I'm still figuring it out as I go. I'm perimenopausal, and when I started to really address some of the hormone imbalances that were new, my sleep, oh my goddess, my sleep improved so much. I cried. I remember there have been a couple of times when I've cried when I realized, wow, I thought that I was actually getting some sleep, and I wasn't. Hormone changes can really throw you out of whack. You're in transition. Nothing is stable in the transitioning. And so finding what you need when things are constantly in flux can be super duper challenging. There are like non-hormonal replacement therapy options, and there are hormonal replacement therapies that are optional as well. Like, you can go either route. Find something and find someone to give you the information you need, because it can be an incredible support mentally and physically, for sure. Laura, I don't do readings for people that way on any platform, actually. I only do the Oracle reading for the community for the week when I do the card reading before we do the rest of our time here on our live. Yes, Mimsy says yes, both. We reach a physical age where, along the Lethal Weapon movie, I'm too old for this shit, and you go to a point of, I'm doing what I need to do for me, nature of the age of getting comfortable. Yeah, definitely. Monica says, me too. Oh my god, right? And then Mimsy continues and says, I've read a lot on sleep. I suggest looking into biorhythms, and there is a term, it will bubble up. There's a lot of really amazing research being done on sleep. There's a lot of great books on sleep. So definitely just do a little perusal on like the Amazons or on the Googles. I had a conversation with a friend this morning, which I want to talk about in a minute. She's a brilliant, brilliant, beautiful friend. And she asked me, because we have like a mastermind going with another woman, so it's like a trio. We're an army of women. And she asked, have you like tried like chat GPT or any of the like AI chat writing platforms? She mentioned another, but I don't remember. Chat GPT seems to be the one that's the most popular. And I said, I'm not comfortable. I just don't quite, like I just haven't, in a way that people normally do, which is I haven't used it to write blog posts or anything, because I feel like what we're writing about is so sourced in the moment from spirit and soul. But I have used chat GPT, and this is what I'm going to recommend for all of you. It's better. I use it as like a really good Google. So for instance, we're talking about sleep and sleep research. You can go to chat GPT, and it's free. There's a free version of it. And I would ask something like, give me a comprehensive list of all the really good research or books on research on sleep in the last 10 years. And it will give you a gorgeous, extensive bibliography that doesn't look like a whole page of link after link after link. It gives you a whole write-up, and it can you can say, give me a list of the 10 best books on sleep research in the last 10 years with a summary. So it'll tell you the title of the book, who wrote it, and a little summary of each book so that you can decide which one you want to read. For that, it is an incredible, incredible tool. All the other stuff, I don't know. I'm not there yet. But in terms of using ChatGPT as a really much more extensive and helpful Google search, amazing. So if you're interested in research on sleep, use that to see, like, in the last, you can give it all sorts of parameters. In the last 5 years, give me 20 books, give me 10 books, give me 5, like, whatever that is. It'll give you a really extensive list. And it's, so far, I've used it that way, and I haven't been disappointed by the results. So it's an option. Mimsy says, for women, if you just get consistent sleep at the same time every day, 7 to 8 hours every day, they've discovered that women will lose weight even though they don't change anything else. Sleep is kind of the key to a lot of our internal systems, for sure. And it's when our bodies repair, and when you start to consider how depleted we just operate. We operate at a pretty depleted level all the time without really knowing, especially in the Western world. And then on top of that, I had a talk with another friend this morning. There's a lot of conversations this morning. It's an unusual day. We were talking about the energy that's still, like, we're more than 3 years out of the pandemic, since it started, and we're all just kind of, there's a weird collective earthly energy where it's like we're slogging through thick molasses. There's just something still. And I think that, yes, you can attribute it to trauma, but it's more than that, less than that. I don't know. We're depleted as a complete planet, not just Mother Earth because of the abuse that we've heaped on her, but collectively, humanity is just slogging through a response to something that maybe still it doesn't fully understand. But this keeps us drained and depleted on a regular basis. And so to respond to that, the nourishment to respond to that depletion is a lot of rest. Yes, and also probably a lot of really different foods, good foods, movement, particular types of movement that keep your energy moving. But also your fluids and your oxygen and your chemistry circulating. We're all still really hard hit here, and it's a strange time, because it's like, to say that it's trauma is accurate, but I think it's more than that, and I don't quite know what that is, but the effects are there. I think all of you can probably feel it as I'm talking about it. There's just I don't know, we just haven't been the same since. Adrienne, hello, says ChatGPT is good, but remember that it only has access to content. Yes, and it'll tell you that it only has content up to 2021. I've seen that that kind of like little notification that I can give it to you, but just remember that I only have information up until 2021. It can't give information that is most current, though I do like it for a deeper Google option. Yeah, I mean, I've loved it that way. And the beauty of it is, when I've done it for bibliographies, is knowing that there's a whole 2 years there where it doesn't, it gives me an idea of who to go to, right? So then I can take those authors and I can take those titles and kind of see what else is going on. Like especially for books, Amazon is such a comprehensive listing of books published everywhere that then you can go to Amazon, list, like put the name of a particular book in search, and when the book comes out, it'll also, like in the search result, it'll also give you a bunch of other books that are also related to the same topic. And that, even if you're not shopping on Amazon, can give you a great idea in terms of where to go in terms of further reading. So there are options out there. I love technology, and I love the way that we advance technology, even though, as with anything, it can all be used for evil as well. You know what I mean? But when we use it to expand our reach and our knowledge and our education and our evolution, I think it can always be an amazing thing. And so, as a deeper Google option, it's been fun kind of to play with. And I'm sure, and I know I'm not even scratching the surface of what I could do with that. So, Queen Enigmatic Enchantress, I love this name. I have a question, actually, your advice. What advice would you give to assist me on getting back to my journey of witchcraft? I've been not as active as I was months ago. First thing I would tell you is that that's okay. That's normal. That's totally common. Like the seasons, we ebb and flow. And there's a reason for the ebb and flow. Sometimes we go through a period where we're in it. And then you need integration. And integration looks like everything kind of slows down. And that can look like interest wanes. And maybe it does, but because something behind the scenes is integrating for you, so that you can then whole yourself, WHOLE, with the work and the movement and the information that you just came out of, so that you can move forward and make choices for where to go further when you're done with the integration. And I'm going to give you a couple of suggestions. Start reading something. Pick up a book on witchcraft. Pick up a book on spirituality to see what like doors that wants to knock open for you. Join a group. If you can join a group where you can meet live, even better. Meetup, is it meetup.org or meetup.com? But you can usually find someone in your community. If you can't, okay, you've got a bunch going on here online. We've got the School of Holy Witchery, so that there's live meetings where we can get together and talk about it, but also where you can start advancing your studies and your practices on your own. Same thing with Moon Ritual Coven. If you're interested in working with deities right now and always, if you're called to Hecate, for instance, Cyndi Brannen has got a robust, gorgeous group working with Hecate, I think on an ongoing basis. They're very active. There's a lot. Jump in somewhere, because what will happen is that if you decide, the book isn't for me, or if you decide, this group in my neighborhood isn't for me, or this online class or group isn't for me, at least it gives you a little bit of like nourishment that might inspire you to move in a different direction. But you want to just start immersing yourself in what you're interested in growing your attention in. Yeah, like that. And then simple things at home. Do you have an altar? If you don't, set one up. If you have an altar and you haven't really touched it for a long time because you've been like disconnected, refresh it, and let the guiding principle behind putting that altar together be what wants to live here right now, what wants to be paid attention to. Just see what comes up that way. My mouth is hella dry. Oh, hold on. Oh goodness, let's see. Sorry, okay, there we go. Oh my goodness, the glasses need to be refreshed is what happens. Melanie says, Hubs and I have recently discussed moving somewhere in the world where there's good, clean food and a healthier culture. I need to live somewhere slower, less toxic, more tolerant. Italy. Boom, right there. I don't even have to think about it. Italy. However, if you're American, living and becoming a resident in Italy is not as easy as becoming a resident in Spain, which also has the same type of pace and the same clean food, but it's not as like, I love the cuisine of Italy more than anything, but the food in Italy, there's been a lot of talk about this. I've known this for decades, well, since 2007 at least. I cannot have gluten in this country. I can't. Immediately, the bloating, the headache, the fuzzy vision, my knuckles get arthritic. They get super sore and tight. When I go to Italy, first of all, Italy has an amazing gluten-free pasta scene going on because food is kind of their religion. And I think that the feeling is, if you're afflicted with such a horrendous intolerance, we're going to make sure that you're going to get some good food, right? They have great gluten-free bread, great gluten-free pasta. However, when I have gluten in Europe, in Italy specifically, in Spain, where I've spent most of my time in Europe, I'm totally fine. The way that they treat food, the way that they grow food, the way that they honor agriculture there is a whole different level. You will never feel as good as you do in both of those countries. And the only reason I say I love the Italian, even though I'm a Spaniard in my complete ancestry, my parents were born in Cuba, but everybody else, all my grandparents and everybody else was born in Spain. The cuisine in Italy is really the best. But if you're up for like a big move, becoming a resident of Spain is probably the easiest country in the EU to get into than any other. The requirements are the easiest, and they're totally doable. Totally. Anyway, you didn't ask for that advice, but I'm going to give it to you anyway. Okay. Laura, my answer was that I don't give readings or advice that way on lives or anywhere. I don't do personal readings for people specifically. Ellen, I'm curious on your thoughts on alcohol. I want to go sober because I feel it's very bad for me, but it's so normal to drink. What's your thoughts as a witch and spiritual person? Well, I don't know that my thoughts on this is going to be popular, but I kind of come from the school of do as you want. And then ask yourself, like, what is your goal? What is your aim? What is your intention? How do you want to live? Alcohol for some people doesn't really do anything, doesn't drag them down, doesn't do anything, and it's fine. But alcohol for others does tax the system. And I have to own that I say this as a person, I love wine. My favorite cocktail is martini. And yet in the course of an entire year, I may have literally probably about 10 drinks in the course of an entire year. I'm not a big drinker that way. And now here's what I'm learning as I'm 51 right now. I'm going to be turning 52 in about 5 seconds. When I don't feel well, my connection to myself and my connection to the world around me wanes. It's stunted in some way. And I don't know if it's just because I'm more sensitive to my energy and I'm more sensitive to my body and how it's doing now, because after years of doing practice, you just become much more sensitive to the truth of what's always been happening, right? You're just much more tuned into it now. It takes me a couple of days to recover from having a drink. And when I sit down to have a drink, it's usually a drink or a drink and a half. I'm sensitive to it. And getting drunk isn't something that I like. I don't like the sensation of it. I just love a good pairing of a good wine with a good meal. You know what I mean? Like the flavor is amazing. So because it takes me so long to recover, I'm sluggish, I'm kind of, foggy headed. What I'm learning spiritually is this doesn't serve me. It just doesn't serve me. And sometimes I make the choice to do something that doesn't serve me. And I'm a big girl and I take the responsibility for those consequences and I move on. And then there are some times when I'm really focusing on a particular thing, I'm going through a particular healing or I'm doing particular magic where it's like, I'm not going to drink tonight because I really need to be closest to 100% than I would be if I had the drink. So that's really the opinion that I have. If it's an issue of addiction, then it's not about alcohol at all, right? It's about something else that's triggering the need to fulfill a hole or fill a hole that has to be addressed. And alcohol just happens to be the thing, where it could be food or money or spending or gambling or sex for anybody else, right? That's a different conversation. Ask yourself what you want. and how you want to feel and how it makes you feel. If it's really just, oh, the beauty of having a beautiful glass of wine with a good meal, and or whatever the drink happens to be, and it's about the pleasure and the experience, and you don't feel particularly depleted, because you may not be depleted by it, have the drink. You know what I'm saying? That said, I will add, because you want to learn, I think we were talking about sleep, we're talking about alcohol now. On YouTube, check out Dr. Andrew Huberman, all things Dr. Andrew Huberman, who's done a ton of research. He talks a lot about the effects of alcohol on our neurobiology, and it's a little scary. So there's also that to consider. You may not feel the effects, but the effects are there. If you have a drink every few weeks, it's not a big deal, but if you're drinking something every day, it will deplete your capacity to function over time. So there's research to do there. But wait, one more thing. One of the beauties about being a witch, okay, let me check in with myself to make sure I want to say this. No, I'm not going to say it. I stand by what I said. How do you want to feel? And is it in alignment with how you want to feel and how you want to be in the world? And does it serve you or deplete you? And let those answers be your guiding force. It might be different for you than it is for me. Yeah? Okay. Hold on. Avira says, I'm in Cyndi Brannen's Covena school, and it's a great place to reconnect with your practice if you are drawn to Hecate. Beautiful. Yeah, I mean, I haven't read anything by Cyndi in a while, and I haven't talked to her in a while, but I am unabashedly in total crush of her, still, forever and ever. Amen. I love her. Highly recommend anything she does. And I haven't done the Covena, but she really is someone who knows her stuff, and her energy is one of deep integrity and beauty, and check it out for sure, especially if you are called by Hecate. Absolutely. And her books are also amazing. Melanie, oh my god, crazy you said Italy. My mom's half Italian. I totally was hoping for that advice. Beautiful. Was also looking at Portugal, but Italy is so magical. Because I have done this research. I literally had a conversation about this morning. My husband and I have been like circling. Before COVID hit, we were probably more on track to do this, and then COVID derailed everybody. But moving to Spain. Because once you get your residency in Spain, you can live in Portugal. You can live in Italy with that residency as long as you need to. So, and there are some requirements in terms of checking back in and blah, 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 but you don't have to stay in Spain. But it gets you into the EU as an American. I don't know if you're in a different country. I don't know if the requirements are a little different. So be clear, although right now Portugal really wants people to move in, so they may have, because if I'm not mistaken, Portugal requires you to have like 6 figures of money in terms of personal resource in a bank. Spain does not. You just have to, at the last time I researched this, let's say you're a couple of two people, no kids, one person needs to be bringing in outside income of $2,500 a month. And for every person in the family after that, it's just an added 500, which isn't you would need to have some sort of job for the first year, because they don't want you coming in taking their jobs. They have a huge unemployment issue. So if you work remotely, you're fine, right? And it's not that expensive to get everybody in. And then you just have to pay for things like background checks and paperwork, whatever, but it's the easiest one to get into for sure. Unless you work in some kind of corporation that can get you over there because they've got offices there, then that's another great route to take. Okay, blah blah blah. Let's see where we are. Okay, I don't read when you guys talk to each other because I don't need to. You guys can read that for yourselves. I'm trying organic alcohol soon. Beautiful. Love me some Andrew Huberman, man, right? Love him. And he's kind of easy to look at, gotta say. Like that. Beautiful. Okay. I am so happy that this is working. So witchcraft, moving to Europe, alcohol, Andrew Huberman. We cover a lot. We cover a lot here in these parts. And books. Books. Yeah. Lots of things. All right, my loves. Again, if you're in School of Holy Witchery or Moon Ritual Coven, there'll be pre-recorded lives. So they're not really lives, but I don't know what else to call them. Pre-recorded lives being sent. So there's going to be new content for sure each month for those things. Be on the lookout for retreats for next year, because a lot of you are like chomping at the bit, which I love. So we're going to take deposits to hold your space, and then you can pay the rest later just to hold your space, because it's limited. The spacing for each of these retreats is super limited. So I want to give everybody an opportunity to hold their spot. Oh, thank you. It's a little wild and crazy today because this is dirty hair day. Yeah, that's kind of it. That's all I have for announcements and things. But it's been a good conversation. I mean, I can't promise you anything, but I foresee potentially missing all of you so much that I might just pop on a random surprise live, like in the middle of fall or winter, like, hi. Who knows? We'll see. But that's it. You've got the newsletter. Check. If you're not subscribed to the newsletter, you can do that on the website. Subscribe to the newsletter so that you can be up on announcements. We post announcements as well on the Instagrams and all the social medias. And a newsletter went out today. Oh, that's what I was going to tell you. A newsletter went out today. Oh my God, I just had a complete distraction go through my head. On fall equinox and just easy suggested rituals that you can do if you're like, I don't know what to do. There'll be that in the newsletter, but it's also a blog post, so you can get to that through the website. That's it. Ellen says, thank you for your thoughts. It's not addiction. It's just that it's not serving. Yeah. Those are good questions. Thank you. I feel like I know what to do. Love, Andrew. And here's what I'm going to say. This may not be about you, but I feel a need to say it. If you know it doesn't serve you and you decide this, I'm not doing this, but then you go out to some dinner or you do something at home and you have a glass of wine, don't use that as a way to beat yourself up. So you had a glass of wine, move on. You know what I mean? Because that doesn't serve either. Allow the spiral of growth forward, you know? So for me, that looks like, and I mentioned it already, that it just doesn't, I don't feel good. I don't want to do things anymore that don't make me feel good. But then there's that meal, that steak with that yummy Cabernet. Come on, what? And I do it. And the next day it's like, oh, and it's like, well, I'm a big girl. These are the consequences of my choices. So take your lumps and move forward and choose differently next time, or not. But don't add. Let's not add to our list of things that don't serve us because we have way too much, and let it be an evolution of choice. Yeah. You're welcome, Monica. Thank you for hanging out. All right. I love you all for real. And I'm a little sad to make it the last one, but here it is. But I'll see you in the other things and like that. Also, is there anything else? I feel like there's more, but I will send out newsletters and you'll see it on social media. So don't feel like we're not gonna go dark. I will only be slow to respond for the 23rd of September through the 4th of October, because I will be going away. Yes, be compassionate with yourself. Always compassion and love. We need more. We never suffer when we give ourselves more compassion. We don't. It's never happened. Ever. So, yeah, enjoy your beverage. The next day be okay. Exactly. My husband is An abusive gaslighter. I'm so sorry to hear that. Yes, may we all have a wonderfully slow winter. And for those of you who are in the Southern Hemisphere, may you have a beautiful, nourishing, and kind of thrilling, flirty spring, because you're having spring down there. Remember what spring is like, people? Hello. Have a beautiful spring down there. All right, my loves. I will see you soon, I am sure. Take care of yourselves, and we'll see you on social medias and all the other things. And I'm still in the forums for all the things that we do. Okay? Mwah. See you later. Bye.